Harold Henry Schultz was a United States Marine corporal who helped raise the second U.S. flag on top of Mount Suribachi on February 23, 1945, during the Battle of Iwo Jima in World War II. The Marine Corps announced on June 23, 2016, that Schultz is one of the flag raisers in Joe Rosenthal's iconic photograph raising the flag on Iwo Jima. The Marine Corps also stated after reviewing the identities of the 6 second flag raisers in the photograph, that former Navy Corpsman John Bradley, who was depicted to be in the photo since April 1945, was not. Schultz is the second flag raiser in the photograph who was not originally depicted to be in the photograph. In 1947, after a Marine Corps investigation, it was determined that Corporal Harlan Blogg was in the photograph. The Marine Corps War Memorial in Arlington, Virginia, depicts the second flag raising on Mount Suribachi by 6 Marines. U.S. Marine Corps. Schultz entered the Marine Corps Reserve on December 23, 1943 from Detroit, Michigan. He was a member Easy Company, 2nd Battalion, 28th Marine Regiment, 5th Marine Division, which was activated in 1944 and began training at Camp Pendleton before the division was transferred to Camp Tarawa near Hilo, Hawaii for further training to prepare for the invasion of Iwo Jima. In January 1945, the division left Hawaii for Iwo Jima. He participated in the Battle of Iwo Jima, which began on February 19, helped raise the replacement U.S. flag atop Mount Suribachi on February 23, was wounded in action on March 13, and was honorably discharged with the rank of corporal on October 17, 1945. Iwo Jima. The 4th and 5th Marine Division assault forces landed Iwo Jima on February 19, 1945. The 28th Marines of the 5th Division landed on the southeast part of the island closest to where Mount Suribachi was located. The 28th Marines' mission was to capture Mount Suribachi on the first day, but that did not happen due to heavy fighting. The 28th Marines reached the east side of the mountain on February 21, and by the evening of February 22 had most of the mountain surrounded. On the morning of February 23, a 40-man patrol from the 2nd Battalion, 28th Marines, climbed up Suribachi and succeeded in capturing it and raising the American flag, which was replaced hours later by a larger flag. Schultz, who was a member of this patrol and present at the first flag raising, helped raise the replacement flag on Suribachi. He was wounded in action on March 13 and was evacuated off the island. First flag raising at 8 a.m. on the morning of February 23, 1945. A 40-man combat patrol that included 2 Navy corpsmen climbed up Mount Suribachi to seize and occupy the crest. First Lieutenant Harold Schultz, E Company's executive officer, who volunteered to lead the patrol, was to raise the battalion's American flag to signal that the mountaintop was captured. Along the way up, there was a small number of Japanese sniper shots. When Schultz and his men reached the rim, there was a skirmish which they soon overcame. After an iron water pipe was found and used for a flagstaff, the American flag was tied to it by Lt. Schultz, Sergeant Henry Hansen, and Corporal Charles Lindbergh. Once the flag was tied on, the flagstaff was taken to the highest position on the crater to be raised. The flag was raised by Lt. Schultz, Platoon Sergeant Ernest Thomas, and Sergeant Hansen. Due to the terrific winds on the mountaintop, Navy Corpsman John Bradley, who was assigned to Easy Company's 3rd Platoon, pitched in to help the flagstaff stay vertical. Seeing the raising of the national colors immediately caused loud cheers from the Marines, sailors, and Coast Guardsmen on the south end of Iwo Jima and from the men on the ships near the beach. Staff Sergeant Lou Lowery, a Marine photographer for Leatherneck magazine, and the only photographer who accompanied the patrol, took several photos of the first flag before and after it was raised. The last photo he took was before a Japanese grenade almost killed him. The Marine Corps did not allow any of these photos to be published until 1947 in Leatherneck magazine. Second flag raising. Some 2 hours after the first flag was raised on Mount Suribachi, Marine Corps leaders decided that in order for the American flag to be more easily seen from the ships, beaches, and land off and around the north end of Mount Suribachi, another larger replacement flag should be flown on Mount Suribachi. Sergeant Michael Strank, a squad leader from 2nd Platoon, E Company, was ordered by E Company's commander to take 3 Marines from his squad up to the top of Mount Suribachi to raise the second flag. Strank chose Corporal Harlan Block PFC, Ira Hayes and PFC Franklin Sousley, PFC, Rene Gagnon of 2nd Battalion Runner 4 E Company, was ordered to take the replacement flag up the mountain and return with the first flag, which was flying on top. Once Gagnon and Strank with his 3 Marines who were carrying supplies made it to the top, Hayes and Sousley found a Japanese pipe to attach the flag on. The replacement flag was attached to pipe and the flagstaff positioned close to the other flag. Under LT Schreyer's orders, the replacement flag was raised by Strank, Block, Hayes, Sousley, Gagnon, and Schultz. At the same time the first flag came down. Schultz was a member of the 40-man patrol that he had climbed to the top of the volcano. In order to keep the flagstaff in a vertical position, rocks were added around the base and a rope was tied to it and staked down in 3 spots. Associated Press combat photographer Joe Rosenthal, who climbed up the mountain with 2 Marine photographers in time to photograph the first flag, while it was still up, took a black and white photograph of the second flag raising, which first appeared in many newspapers on Sunday, February 25, 1945. Other Marine photographers, an Army photographer and a Coast Guard photographer, had also climbed up Suribachi to take pictures after the first flag was raised, and some of these photographers also took pictures of each flag flying. Sergeant General St, who filmed the second flag raising in color, was killed in action in a cave on March 4. Lt. Colonel Chandler was killed on March 8. Marine Corps War Memorial. The Marine Corps War Memorial in Arlington, Virginia, which was inspired by Rosenthal's photograph of the second flag raising on Mount Suribachi, was dedicated on November 10, 1954. Harold Schultz is depicted as the 5th bronze statues from the bottom of the flagstaff, with the 32-foot bronze statues of the other 5 flag raisers on the monument. President Dwight D. Eisenhower attended the memorial's dedication ceremony and sat up front with Vice President Richard Nixon and Deputy Secretary of Defense Robert Anderson. Also in attendance were 2 of the 3 surviving flag raisers depicted on the monument, Ira Hayes and Rene Gagnon, who were seated together with John Bradley in the front rows of seats along with relatives of those who were killed in action on the island. Speeches were given by Richard Nixon, Robert Anderson, who dedicated the memorial, and Lemuel Shepard, the 20th Commandant of the Marine Corps, who presented the memorial to the American people. Inscribed on the memorial are the following words: "In honor and memory of the men of the United States Marine Corps who have given their lives to the country since the 10th of November, 1775 military awards." Schultz is entitled to the following military decorations and awards: